Welcome to Planetary Calendars, Astro Portraits. I'm Lahni DeAmicis, one of the astrologers. In this segment, we're going to talk about George Clooney, the actor and director and social activist. It's a very interesting chart. He's born May 6th, 1961, a Saturday, which is very appropriate, as you'll see as we go along, at 2:58 a.m. in Lexington, Kentucky. He's born in Taurus, with the sun in Taurus. Conjunct Mercury at 20 degrees Taurus in the third house. He has Estrella also in Taurus. It's funny, you can really spot that when you look at him. He's got that Taurian head. It tends to be squared off, and he has that wonderful Taurian voice. It used to be years ago that so many of the great singers were born in Taurus because Taurus rules the voice. It's funny, today, if you actually look at the top singers that are out there in pop music, very few of them are Taurians. There are another signs because so much about the music today is about how they work as part of a team. And the songs are written by teams, and then the whole thing is put together by a big team. So it's more so about being a good team player than about just the natural voice. Not to say there aren't some wonderful singers with natural voices. Cher, for instance, is born with is a Taurian with a beautiful natural voice. Not that she doesn't work with a big team. But he's a Taurian with a Capricorn moon. He's born at night. He has Pisces rising. Very good position for an actor because Pisces is about the imagination. It puts the moon above the horizon in Capricorn. Now, this is an interesting position. It's opposite Cancer, the rulership position. It's called the detriment position. So it's an internalized position. There's depth there. And a lot of his chart is below the horizon, although the chart is really spread out quite well. This is a man for all seasons in some ways. He has lots of different dimensions to his life. He's not, compacted into a small part of the world. He really sees a big picture. Conjunct the moon within 2 degrees at 29 degrees is Saturn. Saturn in Capricorn is the rulership position. The 29th degree is after the first, the most intense degree. So his moon was moving towards that. Remember, the moon moves very fast. That moon above the horizon at night is in many ways more powerful than the Taurian sun in the third house, in the Sacitan house, where there's less leverage. So it's got a lot of power. The fact that it's internal is one of the things that makes him a good actor. He can project his inner life out into the community in the 11th house. The fact that Saturn's there means he can do it consistently because Saturn is about consistency. It also is about ambition. He has Saturn and Jupiter above the horizon in the 11th, and then Jupiter in Aquarius in the 12th house. So his desire to work in the big picture, in the big world, was very evident. He was not someone who wanted to sit in a studio by himself and work. He wanted to be out there in the world. Now he has Neptune, interestingly, in the 9th house, which is the house of vision, seeing the future. And Neptune is about imagination and being visionary. So it's a real strong position. The fact it's in Scorpio is one of the reasons why he likes being a director. He likes being able to guide the vision of it. He has Pluto in the 7th house, just below the horizon, but opposite the rising. So within partnerships, he tends to be kind of controlling. It's one of the reasons why he makes a good director. He formed the partnership. He really likes to have the hidden power. It's in Virgo. So great attention to detail. He might be a little too self-sacrificing in that way. It's conjunct. Now, this is interesting too. It's conjunct the nodal axis. In fact, the nodal axis is relatively close to the ascendant descendant. So there's a connection, there's a reincarnational connection here, especially to the women in his life. At the rising, he has this Pisces rising, and it's interesting because there's a lot to his personality that people don't see. Why do we say that? Because close to the rising is the South Node, Chiron, Juno, the asteroid, a marriage asteroid, and Pallas Athena, the asteroid of the warrior goddess, high skill sets when it comes to imagination, it comes to working with a group of people. He would have made a wonderful scientist, for instance. Close to the rising. These are things that filter the way in which he sees the world. He sees the world through his connection to the women in his life, his matrilineal life. He gets a lot of echoes from his reincarnational experiences due to that nodal axis being right there. He feels the wounds that relate to compassion, to feeling for other people. The Capricorn moon feels for other people, even though it doesn't tend to gush on them. Okay, he's got the Juno asteroid. He looks at relationships in a very special way. He oftentimes will harbor resources for that relationship. And the Pallas Athena is this insightful desire to be an advocate. He filters his world. The way he sees his world filters through this. People, when they meet him, don't see that. That's just not what they see. Know what they see? They see his Venus in Aries in the second house. They see this good-looking guy, Venus in Aries, masculine guy in the second house, the house of beauty. Conjunct Vesta, which has this wonderful sparkle to it, right? And Ceres too. So this wonderful sparkle, and this guy who's actually very good at herding things along. You're kind of saying, well, if we're going to do it, we should do it this way because it's Venus in Aries that will take the lead. Venus in Aries, this is another detriment position. It's interesting. There's a bunch of really great actors and actresses who have a lot of planets where everything is dignified one way or the other, either in detriments or rulerships or exaltation or fall. In other words, all the planets are in these appropriate positions, these identifiable positions, but these introvert planets, it shows the depth of personality. He has a lot of depth to his personality, but it doesn't stop him from being out in the world. Below the horizon, he's got Pallas, Venus, Vesta, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, and Uranus, all below the horizon, and Pluto, all below the horizon. Above the horizon, he's got Neptune, the Moon, Saturn, and Jupiter. He's very well balanced in that way, but he has a lot of depth because his personal planets, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, they're all below the horizon. He has Mars and Leo in the 6th house and Uranus and Leo in the 6th house. Well, usually Mars and Leo gives a person a good constitution. Uranus there, what happens with the two of these is he's prone to accidents. He's prone, and with Uranus being there, stuff that comes out of the blue. For instance, he was in a bad accident which he broke a vertebrae in his spine. And I think it was a motorcycle accident. He was out there doing what he wanted to do. Boom, unexpected. When he was about to do a new film, he had to lose a bunch of weight for it. He was the director. He was hospitalized with pancreatitis because in losing all that weight, he put so much strain on the pancreas, it kind of came out of the blue 3 days before filming was supposed to begin. He was in the hospital. That's Uranus and Mars. It's in Leo. He gets a little bit too leonine, you might say, how we would say it, feeling impervious, which is something that comes with Leo. So it's just a fascinating chart, but when you look at it, you go, well, there's the Sun in the 3rd house, and it's a very, very glib person. But if you really want to understand his chart, you need to understand that he sees the world through a filter that most people don't see. When you look at his life, you can see it. You can see that these things are important to him. But that Moon and Saturn in the 11th house, that emotional sensitivity and ambition, the Jupiter in the 12th house, the desire to be part of a big team, working with technology to accomplish a vision. The Sun in the 3rd house, he's a thinker. It also gives him that beautiful voice. That's how you really need to understand him. So we hope you found that interesting. He's a very interesting man. Come back and see us on Tuesdays for our portraits, on Fridays for our forecast for the coming week, all at Planetary Calendar Astrology on YouTube. You can also visit planetarycalendar.com to find your calendars, to find books on our various topics, on health, on astrology, on Feng Shui. And until next time, be well.